We have a jam-packed episode lined up for everybody today. First, though, that lovely intro.
My name is Dom Douglas, and I've been playing Magic the Gathering for what seems like forever, but in fact it's only been on and off for about 30 years. With that comes an expectation that I'm the best player ever. You couldn't be any more wrong in that statement. What I do like, however, is having a lot of fun. Whether it be playing Limited, Draft, Commander, Standard when I get the chance, Arena, Magic the Gathering Online, it doesn't matter as long as a good time is had. And with that, I have some opinions, not just of Magic the Gathering, but also video games, comics, maybe even a TV show or two. This is the Goblin Grenade Podcast.
Welcome to the Goblin Grenade Podcast. My name is Dom Douglas here for Max Heroes and Villains, and this is my weekly podcast where I talk about all those things I said in the intro, but this time, it's going to be a bit. We're talking Diablo 4 Season 11. We're talking Magic the Gathering. They literally did a weekly MTG, and I'm waiting for the article to go up so I can kind of rip it apart. But also the commander bracket things that they talked about today, and along with something on the arena. But we're going to kick it off with Diablo 4 Season 11. They did their new version of the Fireside Chat, and for the most part, a lot of things helped. A lot of things, for the most part, it wasn't good, I felt. They're going back and doing things that they said that they were taking out for the brevity of the game, it felt. They're going back to some old ways. They're getting rid of certain renowned things. We're not starting with 12 points in our abilities anymore, because they felt the pace of the game needs to be slower. I don't know why you would think that the pace of the game needs to be slower in any way, shape, or form, but here we are. They think the game needs to be slower for some reason. They said, on top of everything else, trust us. It'll be fine. Play the PTR. I don't like those words. I don't like those words at all when they're said, because that tells me a lack of confidence. And I was really hyped for this because apparently this was supposed to be the season that things get improved upon. This was the season that the Paragon board may get an overhaul. That was the rumors. That was the scuttlebutt. None of that happened. Instead, it's Loot 3.0 or 4.0 at this point. Almost 2 years into this game. And they're redoing the itemization again. And for what good they're doing and things that have been asked for, they're taking certain things away that nobody was asking for. So this was the article that dropped on the 16th of October. Sanctuary ignites with itemization and system changes. And it's extensive. We're going to go over the first. Item journey reworks, tempering and masterworking. We are changing the item journey in a big way. Based on community feedback, we're overhauling your item journey through many difficulty tiers of Diablo 4. Tempering and masterworking have been refocused around their most core elements, customization and prestige, whatever that means. Players are now always getting their desired tempered affix, something we've been asking for about a year now. Or it seems like a year, and masterworking has a direct path towards perfection. Tempering. You can now select which specific affix you want to apply to your item from a tempering recipe. No longer will you have it randomly applied. Yay! Items can now only have one tempered affix, as opposed to two randomly applied affixes, while tempering charges can be restored indefinitely. Okay, so we asked for not the ability to brick our items on tempering. We can choose what we want, but now you're taking away one of the choices that we have. To me, the endgame power fantasy, because that's all you have in Diablo 4. There is no real endgame. I don't want to talk about running the pit or running dungeons. That's not endgame. That's just grinding to slightly better gear. So now you're telling me that you're making us get slightly worse gear because we can't temper two things on them because you're giving us something that we wanted, so now we're getting punished for it. Whatever. Masterworking no longer increases your item's affix values. Instead, it improves the quality of an item, which gives a bonus to base damage, armor, or resistance of an item. Items can be masterworked to a maximum quality threshold of 20. Once you reach max quality, you can roll it one last time for a capstone bonus. This capstone bonus applies this random capstone bonus upgrade. This capstone bonus upgrades a random non-greater affix on your item into a greater affix. You can then choose to re-roll the masterworked greater affix without resetting your masterworking quality. Additionally, we're increasing the amount of base affixes found on non-unique items from 3 to 4. Okay, so let's go back to stuff in Loot 1.0. We're now we're now adding quality again to items where quality was like 1 through 8, I think, or something like that. It was like pre-masterworking, but now we're doing that again. And now it's a quality of 20 that expands everything. Okay, so there's that random chance, like we don't get a choice, but everything gets affected, but we won't be able to chase that one time we get that all 4 masterworked to the item that we need. So we have like 20 different levels to one of our skills. I get it, but it feels like you're taking stuff away. Especially going back to stuff that didn't work before. This is stuff that was like base game. The whole reworking of masterworking with adding the quality threshold, like quality of items, that's what we used to do. Like there was 5 tiers of it, and it did the same thing. So now we're going back to it. So it seems like the development team here at Diablo 4 doesn't know what they want this game and has no clear direction for where to take this game, because this was stuff that we are asking for or have been asking for, like these certain weird improvements, but you're also taking stuff away that we weren't even mad at, that we weren't even having issues with. So, like, you know, it's like, here's your allowance. I doubled it up, but, you know, you're grounded for the next 5 weeks. Then monster combat changes, improved monster behavior. Monsters will better react and adapt to combat in their expressed desire to end your life. Each monster should now have its own clear role and identity when fighting. I'll believe it when I see it. Monster behavior was previously too predictable. They'll now be more dynamic in how they respond to you in combat. What in the flying does that mean? Yes, it's going to be an edited episode. I apologize in advance, because this update, there's a couple people that are happy about it streaming wise, but you can tell nobody wants this. Expect your defenses to be tested by your enemies. You'll be regularly dealt damage from these intelligent packs. Monster affixes will be also more powerful, making them more necessary to deal with before moving on. Look, you're dealing with a development team that thought adding thousands of % of armor to creatures, making certain classes in the beginning of a couple seasons ago, in the beginning of the season game, the 1 to 60 grind, certain monsters impossible to beat because they thought thousands of % of shield was a good thing. Same development team saying this. I have no faith, no confidence that they're going to be able to pull this off. I guarantee you, even with the PTR and the things that are going, which is happening right now, and I'm going to watch some videos on it, watch some live streams to see if my nightmare scenarios are coming true. I don't even know if they're going to fix it in time or want to fix it, because the heads of the Diablo 4 seasonal team are very thick-headed when it comes to making changes to the game that the player base kind of wants. In this, I'm going to give you something and I'm going to take it away, or I'm not going to listen to you at all and do my own thing, even though everybody disliked that. Enemy elite updates. Elites are receiving several large changes. First of those, there are now 20 plus new monster affixes to learn and conquer. I can't wait for these 20 to absolutely break the game and not work the way they intended it. See previously what I just said a few minutes ago about the shields. Elites now spawn with minions that inherit some of their affixes. Overall, we've updated enemy affixes to be more engaging, reduce overlap in their designs, and made some visual clarity improvements. So what you're trying to tell me is you're trying to make the game more complicated. You know, Diablo 4, the people say, is baby's first ARPG. Now you want to go into the realm of Path of Exile 2, Last Epoch. You want to go into those territories? Because everybody who plays this game knows that it's not the most advanced game. That's why we play it. Sure, let's make it more complicated, more thought-engaging, considering, once again, see previously the things I said about the thousands of % of shield that they added to enemies because they thought it was a great idea. System updates, defending, healing, and renown. This is where you thought my ire was bad before. Defensive overhaul, introducing toughness again. In an effort to better equalize effective health across class and builds, we're making several changes to the way health interacts with damage reduction and how those individual stats are calculated. Armor and resistance will both become rating systems with diminishing returns at higher values. Armor now reduces all damage taken, both physical and non-physical. We're also introducing a type of damage resistance, physical damage. Whatever. These changes to armor and resistance in mind, the armor and resistance penalties per torment tiers have been removed. Let me repeat that. With these changes to armor and resistances in mind, the armor and resistance penalties per torment tiers have been removed. Okay. Additionally, skills and Paragon nodes are being reworked with these changes in mind. So the rework isn't a complete rework of Paragon nodes. They're just changing the armor and resistance stuff that we would get from Paragons. And Paragon nodes and skills that provide various forms of damage reduction now grant multiplicative bonuses to your armor and or resistances. So now what does that mean for the torment tiers? Healing updates. Potions are changing significantly to make their use more impactful and tactical. Remember, they're trying to make the game more thought-provoking and harder. It's almost been 2 years of the same core game mechanics, and they're trying to change the core mechanics. I see this not working. These changes go in tandem with the renown changes next, so keep that in mind when reading these changes. Base potion capacity has been reduced to 4, regardless of previous renown progress. Potion healing is now instant, percentage-based healed. Using a potion heals you for 35% of your total health immediately on use. In addition to the potions you pick up, you'll slowly regenerate a potion every 30 seconds. To compensate, Life on Hit has been re-added as a potential affix. Once again, adding stuff that they took out previously because they can't make up their minds. It is a minor cooldown, so it no longer grants multiplicative... It is a minor cooldown so that it no longer multiplicatively scales with enemy density. We've also increased values for life regen, life on kill, healing percentage, and made them more readily available. Healing potion upgrades have been removed, considering potions are now a portion of your overall health. They did this because they got big mad that everybody had 10 potions and would just spam potions. There's no other reason for it. They just can't make up their mind with this game, and it's kind of sad, considering, yes, I've low-key been enjoying Season 10 for what it is. A chill season with no real... The Chaos Armors are awesome. The Chaos Armors are kind of like the thing that has made me roll a second character, and that's a Sorcerer, a Ball Lightning Sorcerer, that I'm still working on. Because I still need to get one more, like the Mana Shield. I still don't have the full complete build yet, but I've been enjoying this season for what it was. And I completed the seasonal season progress this time. Unlike what I did last season where I left the last gap open because I just couldn't be bothered playing Season 9 anymore. Season 10, kind of a step in the right direction, and now we're just slapping it back to the beginning of where we were a year and a half ago. Fortify redesign. To work in tandem with the changes to healings and potions, Fortify is shifting from a type of damage reduction to an additional reservoir of life that's drained to heal you over time. When you now gain Fortify, it'll stack up to your maximum life. When you have Fortify under maximum life, you'll heal for a percentage of your maximum life per second in exchange for an equal amount of Fortify. This did not need to happen. The Fortify redesign did not need to happen. And now another big thing. Introducing Seasonal Rank. The season journey is now shifting into a more challenging version stocked with season rank. Each tier now requires you to complete a challenge, usually a capstone dungeon, because we're bringing back capstone dungeons and stuff, and the capstone mechanic because we all loved it before progressing to the next rank. Similar to previous capstone dungeons, these can be attempted before the recommended level and difficulty. Probably not going to happen considering they changed everything. Renown changes in the seasonal realm. Your renown will now only stand permanently in the internal realm. Instead of having the first few tiers unlocked every season, so we don't have to go through that boring grind again. Note that the potion capacity changes and removal from renown affects the eternal realm as well. With the seasonal realm, you can still earn the additional benefits associated with renown based on your progress tied to the new season rank system. Complete various challenges within each rank to earn specific benefits, while completing an entire rank will grant additional capstone bonuses. I hope you like the side quests in this game because you're going to have to do them all the time. Season rank rewards additional skill points at rank 1 and 2 and 3. Season rank rewards additional paragon points at rank 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm talking like I'm very condescending because the Diablo 4 design team is very condescending towards its player base. So f*** them and f*** this game. Altars of Lilith and Tenets of Akarat will still grant some XP and minor rewards rather than permanent stats and power. So they powered us all down. They're taking away the Altars of Lilith and the Tenets of Akarat. And if you tell me we have to go through and find all of those every season, this game's getting deleted off my hard drive. Because that was their original intent before the first season came out. Their original intent was for the player base to have to go through all 70 or 80 whatever Altars of Lilith every season. Just in the same way that, that went over really well, and they thankfully listened to us that time in a non-condescending way and decided to say, you know what, that was a big mistake on our end. It'll always be unlocked once you unlock it. So we all grinded before the first season to get all the Altars of Lilith. It's bad enough that you have to do every stronghold every season with every character that you make. You have to do every single stronghold. So you're elongating the playing process by making us repeat the same stuff, repeating the same beginning stuff all the time. So now we have to go for the Altars of Lilith again, and also the Tenets of Akarat, along with getting the waypoints and unlocking the strongholds. Capstone Dungeons return because nobody asked for that. The Capstone Dungeons have returned, aimed to challenge your progress through the many difficulty tiers as you progress through your journey. Note that despite Capstone Dungeons stating a suggested level to attempt them, they do not scale in difficulty with your current level. There are 5 capstone dungeons to conquer. Torrid Menagerie, suggested level 30, difficulty tier normal. Hellish Descent, suggested level 50, difficulty tier expert. Unseen Awakening, suggested level 60, difficulty tier torment 1. Tempest Oasis, suggested level 60, difficulty tier torment 2. Sins of the Many, suggested level 60, difficulty tier torment 3. The Tower and Leaderboards beta, because they're once again trying the leaderboards that they failed at a year ago. Now that both the Tower and Leaderboards will be officially beta in both the 2.5.0 PTR and in Season 11, they will be released in beta at a future date. Ascend the Tower. A new challenge arrives to test the mettle of the most battle-hardened warriors in Sanctuary. The Tower is a multi-stage time dungeon. It's Greater Rifts. I'm skipping through all this. It's Greater Rifts. They brought Greater Rifts from 3 into 4. Nothing wrong with Greater Rifts. Greater Rifts were actually probably the thing that held me on to Diablo 3 for as long as it did. Sometimes a blind squirrel gets lucky. So now they're going to replicate the process of the blind squirrel getting lucky. So yeah, I don't even want to do that because there's leaderboards, and Leaderboards will be organized by the following categories: solo for each class, a party of 2, a party of 3, a party of 4. Additional entries on the leaderboard will display the following: rank, player name, tier, completed time, date. You can also filter results by platform, PC. Changes to the welcome back booster. For players who have not yet used your welcome back booster, it will now be moving to the training ground to avoid unattended use. Following the end of Season 10, there will be some changes to the welcome back booster. Starting with Season 11, new accounts will not be granted a welcome back booster and will no longer be automatically added to the journal for new characters. However, if you create an account and log in any time before the end of Season 10, you will still earn the ability to use the welcome back booster at any time. This includes during or after Season 11. Asmodan is back. New boss. So yeah, Asmodan is back. The season of gifts is what they're calling it, I think. That was just the changes. That was just the game changes. What is the season overview? I don't want to go to that website, but I might wind up having to. No thanks. So Season 11 is expected to start on December 9th. Divine Gifts are new seasonal mechanic. It's the new seasonal mechanic, the Divine Gifts. And once again, they somewhat function like all the gifts and powers, but they provide passive powers that have effects both in and out of combat. There's the Sanctification Gear system, which is a new upgrade that allows a final power to increase the item form, so we can brick it in multiple ways, our items now. Sanctification is a final upgrade that you can add to any gear, so make sure that you've qualitied it up, maxed everything out, and then hit the Sanctification. Lesser evils have invaded Sanctuary. New challenges. Duriel replaces the Blood Maiden and the Helltides. I kind of like that. Belial enters the Pit of Artificers. Andariel infiltrates Karask Undercity. And Asmodan joins the ranks of Sanctuary world bosses. Yes, new world boss Asmodan. I can't wait to play Asmodan because for the last 2 years, the entire existence of his game, it's been three world bosses. Tempering and Masterworks, we've already gone through. The defensive changes, the new bosses, the tower and leaderboards. The return of capstone dungeons, I don't like those. The new uniques are okay. Some daily power, some chaos powers are being reworked to fit in with the season. Overall, I need to say this about Diablo for Season 11. There is a handful of good things in this and a lot of dumb things in this. The fact that I've sworn twice already and dropped a major cuss word that I've had to edit out tells you how bad this season's going to be for me. I think it's going to be like Season 9, where I played for 3 days, got to level 60, did some things, unlocked some things, and noped out of it. Which is more than I can say about Borderlands 4. That travesty of a game, don't buy it. Take it from me. If you like the Borderlands franchise, don't buy it. Wait for it to go on massive sale in like a year from now, because then the game will be fixed. Moving on into the world of Magic the Gathering. On Arena, they've announced the Arena Powered Cube. On October 28th, they'll unleash a new limited-time event, the Arena Power Cube. This exciting event is unlike anything else on the MTG Arena and will feature some of the most powerful cards throughout Magic's history, including the Power 9. With over 100 new MTG Arena print cards, some of which you've seen in recent Arena anthologies, the Cube presents a massive update to the game. Powered Cube events, details, and rewards, their prize packs and all that are kind of okay. It's going to start on the 28th and close on October 28th it starts, closing on November 18th. It's going to cost normal, 10,000 gold, 1,500 gems, or a player token. I'm going to take part in one of them. Format Power Cube Phantom Player Draft. We do not keep the cards. Which probably just said, which probably just confirmed with me I'm not playing it. I don't like Phantom Draft, especially when it's this pricey. It's the price of a normal draft, but we don't get to keep any of the cards. So the Cube prize packs are a way for MTG Arena to release new cards in the game and provide exciting awards for winners. Cube prize packs contain 7 cards in total, with at least 2 rares or mythics. Each Cube prize contains 1 card from a rotating sheet, bonus sheet. Contains the following: 1 timeless rare or mythic from any card legal and timeless, 1 cube bonus sheet rare or mythic, 1 flex card that contains any timeless or any timeless uncommon, rare, or a card from the bonus sheet, 2 uncommons from any card legal and timeless, 4 commons from any card legal and timeless. Exceptions for cards listed as any and timeless include the following: any cards that are from Universe Beyond sets, cards that are fully banned in timeless, cards previously used as exclusive MTG Arena rewards, or other specifically uncraftable cards. Like all Cube events, this is a Phantom event, meaning players do not add cards they pick up during the draft to their collections. All right, you in best of 1, you need to win 5 games to get a Cube prize pack. In best of 3, you need to win 2 games to win 1 prize pack. You get a historic booster for playing, but to get the Cube prize packs, you need to get 5 wins. There's some halfway decent cards in the sheet. They've already pre-banned Fire Blast, Preordained, Pyrokinesis, and Seething Song in historic. I can see why. But, the OG art for the Moxes, if you happen to get them, and a squirrel token, which is cool. Oh, what, you thought we were done talking about Magic the Gathering? Nah. There's one more thing I'm going to have to talk about, too, but they haven't posted the article yet. But the weekly MTG, which had previously announced that it was going to be Commander Bracket stuff, started off rather awkwardly because announcing the 2027 Magic Limited Championship. Okay, the upcoming Magic Limited Championship is a special tournament put on where the focus is on Limited, which is great. It's one of my favorite formats, supported by events across the world that will let the best Limited players qualify for this high-level Limited extravaganza. The Magic Limited Championship will take place in 2027, but qualifying events will be held in 2026, so next year. This is a new exciting initiative, blah, blah, blah. What can I win? The Magic Limited Championship will have a $500,000 prize pool with a payout structure that is similar to the Pro Tour. In addition to cash prizes, the top 8 at the event will also receive invitations to Magic Worlds in 2027. How do you qualify? There's going to be multiple events in 2026 where players can qualify for this event. Whether that be Magic Limited Championship qualifiers or LTQs, will be held in a variety of locations, both physical and digital. These events will feature different formats and invitation structures depending on their location. Limited Championship qualifiers may in some regions replace existing open events that award regional championship invitations and prize money. The following players will also receive invitations to the Magic Limited Championship. Top 16 players, after calculating the booster draft match results from each Pro Tour and Magic World Championship in the 2025-2026 Premier Play season, the winner of Magic World's Championship 32. Additionally, in 2026-2027 Premier Play season, Magic Pro Tour Hall of Fame members will be allowed to use their yearly invite that they get to enter one Pro Tour of their choice or the Magic 2027 Limited Championships. So yeah, there's Spotlight Series, there's Magic Con LTQs, Magic Arena LTQs. That was kind of an interesting thing, but very, very thrown off by how that was starting. how they started that. Now, that being said, of course, the Commander Bracket System article isn't up yet. So instead, we're going to pause real quick, and I took the survey that everybody was complaining, that everybody was all up in arms about the Spider-Man set, and how it was like targeted for people who knew about the Spider-Man set. So I did a little bit of an experiment and took it. Here's the video of me taking that survey and getting kicked out when I said I'm not very familiar at all with the Spider-Man set. Good job, Wizards. So it is true. This survey is targeted for the Spider-Man set only. Because it's the only other one that I can think of that I said, not familiar with it. Wizards. L. Wizards, you never fail to surprise me. What a... Poor form, Jack. Poor form. Now, the Commander Brackets beta update. That was the next portion of the weekly MTG live stream. Gavin, and this is the article from Gavin from Wizards website, magic.wizards.com, /news. Hello, everybody. It's Gavin. From the Commander format panel, September... they had the summit, and they talked about a bunch of things. Reviewing brackets, and I'm just going to, read the article. After 3 Magic Cons and 9 months of use, I would call the Commander bracket a success. This is true. I was very pessimistic on the Commander brackets because it's being run by Wizards, and so far, when it comes to the brackets, I can now say hindsight 2020, and I even said it then. I think when they originally announced it, they announced it a little too soon, only because of the backlash that the previous council was getting, just to say, hey, look, we're working on this. And so far, it's been incredible. The games I've played, the conversations it started. Now, if you want to say, oh, my deck is a 3++, go straight to hell with that. Your deck is a 4. If you have to add, my deck is a 3+, or my deck is a 4++. No, your deck is a 5. If you come at me, say, oh yeah, my deck is a 2+. Okay, it's a 3. Speaking of which, they're still taking the survey and data from the MagicCon surveys, and they've been improving and using the input and feedback that they get, unlike Blizzard and Diablo 4, to actually improve things. First, we talked about this before, it's the lack of focus on intent. Yes, they have mentioned this plenty of times. So much about the brackets is about what you're intending to do. I can easily build a deck which technically fits the restrictions of bracket 2, but can play at a very high-powered level. We're going to continue to emphasize that today with expectations of what you can find in each bracket as a North Star. We also have some rules and heuristics that were not as clear as they should have been. Things like no early game combos or few tutors. While not everything can be a hard, fast rule, we certainly can do better. The third is that while our goal is to certainly not have an equal number of people in each bracket, some of how we directed people squished too many people into upgraded or bracket 3. Today we're going to be updating some terminology that we think will help and help people find a bracket for them. We still expect brackets 2, 3, and 4 to be the most popular, but this will hopefully distinguish them some more. Bracket 1, remember, is just an expedition. Hey, this is my joke deck where all the cards are a background art of a crab, or there's a piece of pizza in every one of the cards in this deck. All the way up to bracket 5, which is competitive EDH. Which, if you're running the same commander as the person next to you, you're running the same 100 cards. You're running meta. It's basically like competitive Friday Night Magic or tournaments in that aspect where you're playing the meta, which is okay. There is room for CEDH after all. I was very wrong on this as well. And they've updated some game changers. Setting bracket expectations and turns played. This is great. Bracket 1 expedition. Players expect decks to prioritize a goal, a theme, or an idea over power. Once again, every creature is a 1/1 bird that flies. Or every single card in this deck has a piece of pizza in the art. Rules around card legality or viable commanders to have some flexibility depending on the pod. Win conditions can be highly thematic or substandard. Gameplay to be an opportunity to show off your creations. Generally, in Bracket 1 Exhibition, you should expect to at least be able to play 9 turns before you win or lose. Not saying that's the end-all be-all with these when the game should end. This is around the time when the game should start winding down and you're getting into that proverbial end game, where in the next rotation or two, somebody's going to win. Most importantly, given this bracket's emphasis on theme, players should feel they have time to showcase their decks. That's the other thing, too. Like, you don't want to bring a exhibition deck where everything is a piece of pizza and you don't even get to show no more than 2 slices of pizza in your deck. I only say pizza because the Turtles is out and it's next year, and I've got pizza on my mind because I'm about to move back to Jersey in a couple months, and I'm going to get really good pizza there because there's maybe 3 places in North Carolina that I've had good pizza at, and 2 of them are the same establishment, just different stores of the same owner. Yeah, anyway. Bracket 2, core. What to expect. Decks to be unoptimized and straightforward, with some cards chosen to maximize creativity or entertainment. Win conditions to be incremental, telegraphed on the board, and disruptible. Gameplay to be low pressure with an emphasis on social interaction. Gameplay to be proactive and considerate, letting each deck showcase its plan. Generally, in core, bracket 2, you should expect the game to start getting into the endgame phase around 8 turns. Bracket 3, upgraded. Decks to be powered up with strong synergy and high card quality. They can effectively disrupt opponents. Game changers that are likely to be value engines or game-ending spells. This is where we start getting into that you can start playing some game changers lists as well. Win conditions that can be deployed in one big turn from hand, usually because of steadily occurred resources. And gameplay to feature many proactive and reactive plays. Generally, you should be able to expect at least 6 turns before you win or lose and or start getting into that aforementioned end game scenarios. Bracket 4, optimized. Players expect decks to not adhere to the CEDH metagame reserved for Bracket 5. Yes, you're playing some CEDH, like you're playing CEDH commanders, but you're different. Your 99 is different than the competitive meta. Decks to be lethal, consistent, and fast, designed to take people down as fast as possible. Game changers that are likely to be fast mana, snowballing resource engines, free disruption, and tutors. Win conditions to vary, but be efficient and instantaneous. Gameplay to be explosive, powerful, featuring huge threats and efficient turn disruption to match. Generally, you expect to be able to at least play 4 turns before you win or lose and or get into that end game scenario. Bracket 5, CDH, lawlessness abound. Decks that are meticulously designed to battle in CEDH metagame, with the ability to win quickly or generate overwhelming resources often built using existing CEDH knowledge, tools, and/or deck lists. Win conditions to be optimized for efficiency and consistency. Gameplay to be intricate and advanced with razor-thin margins for error. Players prioritize victory above all else, unlike stalling for 12 hours. These games could end on any turn, including one. Just saying. This is where you go into that competitive EDH. And once again, the bracket system's a beautiful thing because I poo-pooed and CEDH shouldn't exist. And then because of the bracket system, I got a better understanding of what CEDH is. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm for it. I'm not going to be playing in CEDH, but it's there. And then the bracket update focus on theme. Always have your Rule Zero conversations, But say you have an unusual theme that needs an atypical commander, like a playtest card or a card from an unset. Do you want to use some game changers that are highly thematic? For example, Bolas Citadel and a Bolas themed deck. This should be on the table and expected during exhibition pre-game discussion. Remember, your pre-game discussions are more important, especially in casual, where the stakes have never been lower. Look, I need to say this time and 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 time again. In Casual Commander, there is no reward other than ego for winning the game. I myself, especially with some of my more potent decks, have shown the table that I can win the game. And opted not to because I was having a blast playing that game. I said, hey, I can win. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to shove these cards on the bottom. I'm going to draw 2 cards off the top to replace. Is that cool? I actually like where this game's going. We're doing some crazy things. And the table was cool with it. There's been other times where I've won and kind of felt dirty about how I won, or how many players I took out the table in one go. Because remember, at the end of the day, we're here having fun, especially with Commander. And in Casual Commander, where there's no C in front of the EDH, the stakes have never been lower. Well, the C meaning competitive. In Casual Commander, the stakes are never lower. You get no prize points. You get an ego boost. And if you need an ego boost to play your Edgar Markov deck against a bunch of beginner commanders, I'm sorry, you're sad. Now, Core Bracket 2 update no longer tied to precons, and this is very important because usually they lumped the precons into Bracket 2. Come to find out, Modern Horizons 3 screwed more things up than the meta for Modern. A Modern Horizons 3 commander deck or a Secret Lair commander deck is not the same as a starter deck, and nothing has been more true. There were plenty of holes in the description, and the second is that people's expectations around precons and what's in them is so varied. Decks from 5 years ago are different today. I have the Urza precon from Brothers War, and I upgraded it with 1 card because I got like a retro frame, I think like artifact that fit in with that deck. That was never a 2. And I would be like, hey, look, this is the Urza precon, but this precon slaps hard. Lathril slapped hard as a precon. So yeah, I'm glad that the precons aren't tied to Bracket 2 anymore. Removing tutor restrictions, and this is the key. Tutor increased consistency and higher homogeneity and risk aversion, I'm not even going to try to say homogeneity, by making games play out the same. When we were building the original bracket system, we put guide rails around tutors at the first 3 brackets, citing few. The original benchmark wasn't clear enough, and not all tutors are created equal. Sure, Dynamic Tutor, which is the best tutor ever printed at Uncommon, by the way, in Beta and Alpha, but if you're spending 4 mana on a Diabolical Tutor, is that really a huge problem? And what counts as a tutor anyway? Is Expedition Map a tutor? Is Desert Artifice Master a tutor? There was confusion as well. So after much discussion, the avenue we'd like to take is to remove the tutor restrictions from commander brackets entirely and rely on game changers to catch the most efficient tutors. If you want to play tons of inefficient tutors, it may not make for the most replayable deck, but we don't need a safeguard for that. So if you want to play like 8 tutors and like you have a Dynamic and like a Imperial Seal and Vampiric, and then the other 4 tutors are along the lines of like Diabolical, then yeah, okay. The Game Changers list philosophy change. When we last talked, we added a bunch of Game Changers based on community feedback, and Game Changers should generally be cards that easily and dramatically warp Commander games, allowing for players to run away with resources, shift games, block people from playing, efficiently search for their strongest cards without downside. That is what a Game Changer is. They want to generally get away from Game Changers. Here's the 2 things we generally want to get away from are Game Changers moving forward. High mana value cards. If you're spending tons of mana on something in Commander, it's going to be strong. We want to keep the focus on the cards that can change the game in the earlier turns, where it can be more frustrating to have somebody run away with the game before people have been able to develop. Legends that are just powerful commanders. The easiest thing to opt out of is someone's commander. If someone says, I want to play Yurkio, which is the ninjutsu commander, and a lot of people just shuddered in fear when I said Yurkio. I can't even say the name right now. Yurkio the Tiger Shadow. You know exactly what that means, and it's easy to prompt the conversation. If something is so wildly powerful in the 99 or simply unfun all around, we're fine leaving it on the list, but power alone isn't a reason to list it as a game changer, because there's a 1 in 100 chance of you drawing that card every turn. Just saying. If it's in the 99. Removals of Game Changers. With that in mind, here are some cards we want to remove today. The high mana value. Expropriate for 7-2 and 2 blue. Sorcery. Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, choose a permanent owned by a voter and gain control of it. Exile Expropriate. Expropriate, just, Ding Dong ditches itself out of the game after it's cast, but it is a 9 mana cost card, even with ramp. If you let this card get cast, that's your fault. Jin-Kataxis Core Augur, 8 and 2 blue, 10 mana, powerful ability for a 5/4 with flash. At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. Powerful card, 10 mana to cast, maybe on turn 6 at the earliest, if you're playing in the non-CEDH level. Turn 4, bracket 4, probably turn 5. Sway of the Stars, once again, 8 and 2 blue. Sorcery, each player shuffles his or her hand, graveyard, and permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then draw 7 cards. Each player life total becomes 7. Vorn collects Voice of Hunger, 6 and 2 green. I don't know about this one because green's got ramp for days and you could get this out on turn 4 consistently. Trample, whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its opponent's next untap step. I'm the most unsure about Voice of Hunger, only because with green mana ramp, legends that are strongest in the command zone: Kinnan, Bonner Prodigy, Urza, High Artificer, Winota, Join of Forces, Yurkio, Tiger Shadow. If these are in the command zone, you know what you're getting into. You can say nope, and I generally won't play a Yurkio against a Yurkio deck. They're not fun to play against for me. It's Commander Ninjutsu. I don't like that card at all. Winota is not as bad as I've felt it could be. It gets potent, but it's not as bad. I'm not allowed to cut Urza Lord High Artificer decks anymore because I tend to cut them into the turn 2 or 3 win. And Kinnan, I've never had a problem with. Bonner Prodigy, powerful effect, powerful card. Never really had a problem with it. And then finally, because they don't really fit in any of the categories, they want to remove Defecting SWAT and Food Chain. Defecting SWAT is a free, if your commander is on the field, spell. You can choose new targets for spells or for target spell or ability. And Food Chain is exile a creature you control at X mana of any one color, where X is 1, plus the exiled creature's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Food Chain is popular in combos, but for deflecting, SWAT, and free spell, while free spells are powerful, it's a notch below free counter magic like Force of Will and Fierce Guardianship. It only hits specific kind of cards, and it didn't quite fit into the description of a game changer. Food Chain is an incredibly powerful combo card. However, because it's a combo card, it doesn't risk causing trouble in the lower brackets anywhere. Adding it was sensible because of its pedigree, but as the community noted, the brackets already do a good job of restricting combos, because remember, in 1 and 2, you really shouldn't be playing any combos. In brackets 1 and 2, you shouldn't really be playing those particular type of combos. Coalition cards that stayed. Consecrated Sphinx, Coalition Victory that they unbanned, Panoptic Mirror. They're still looking at it. They're still figuring it out. So the game changers have been game changed. They've been talking about Rhystic Study. It's not on Soul Ring levels of love, but it is loved. But they're not going to ban it. Not for now. I don't think it ever gets banned. I don't think Rhystic Study ever gets banned. Just pay the 1. Or to let them draw a card. Say what I say. I don't negotiate. Like, draw your card, bro. I ain't tapping my 1. I get it. It's powerful, but I never pay for the 1. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. Thassa's Oracle. They want to avoid banning cards and let Game Changers list be on the tool set, but they're common enough topic discussions. And then, should there be another bracket? They wanted to place a bracket between brackets 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 as a way to currently sit for a little more granularity. Remember, this is going back to the topic of my deck is a 2+ or my deck is a 3++. No, if you're adding a plus to your deck, it is the tier above, the bracket above. And then they talked about hybrid cards. They pull up the example of Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks is a 1 and 2 hybrid mana green-white. Selesnya. You can either pay 2 green, 2 white, or 1 green, 1 white for this card. But if your commander doesn't have is mono green, you cannot play Kitchen Finks in it. Hybrid cards are made to be playable by either color. That's how they work in all of Magic. You could put it in a mono white deck or mono green deck in a standard 60 card format. Commander, however, is the place where it's the opposite. You can't put it in either mono white or mono green because it has those symbols. Allowing hybrids would give decks with fewer colors better tools and options to play. It allows for more playable options. From a design standpoint, the way we design hybrid cards today is that it would need to be a card we'd print in another color. They must obey the rules of a white card and a green card independently, and they are often weaker than a monocolor card in either of those colors. The proposal would be that strictly for the purposes of deck building, you can treat a hybrid symbol as either or of its 2 colors. So Reese the Redeemed could go into a white deck, a green deck, or be the commander for a green and white deck. It still looks at the rest of the mana symbols on the card as normal, so cards like Deathrite Shaman, which is a hybrid green-black but has abilities that require a tap of black mana or green mana, would remain ineligible for a mono black deck because it has a green symbol in the text box. When it comes to two grid high mana cost of like that Beseech the Queen, which is 2/2/2 or black, hybrid mana, our inclination would be to let it work the same way so that any deck could play it if they wanted to, though that could be more of a discussion. We know that hybrid mana costs have been a long discussed thing in Commander. What do y'all think? Hybrid mana still is following the rules. It has to have both colors in the commander. But maybe we relent on certain ones of the hybrid cards. This is where I had to check out real quick to get some food in me. They're going to hear from us earlier in the panel rotation. This is the first time the panel rotation will happen, but as they said, when they announced the panel, some people would rotate off the panel as new folks rotate on to get fresher ideas, and the overall group will become smaller. We wanted to make sure as to have as many eyes as possible and keep consistency during this transition. Originally, I said it would be up by early November. It'll be likely a little later now, but you can still expect to hear it in the next couple of months. In general, the ending of the article, Gavin says, Commander is great. We don't want to make a ton of changes. The Commander bracket system has been mostly working well, and people are having fun. Thanks to everybody who put the hours into this wonderful format. We'll talk to you again soon. And on behalf of the entire Commander format panel, who I'm all going to name here, Tack on Cardboard, Bandit, Ben Wheeler, Charlotte Sable, Daquan Watson, Deco, Greg Salbin, Iteu, Josh Lee Kwai, Kristen Gregor, Louis Stardust, Olivia Gobert Hicks, Rachel Weeks, Rebel Lilly, Scott Larrabee, Tim Willoughby, and Toby Elliott. Thank you to the Commander Committee as well, along with Gavin Verhey, for making sure that you have made the transition from being run by the original committee to now being run as a Wizards entity a lot cooler than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be hell on earth because Wizards was running it, and now the fan-made format is no longer fan-made. It's now company man-made or whatever. And you've all done all of you have done a hell of a job in making sure that Commander is still an amazing experience to all. Lots of things that talked about today, but my name has been Dom Douglas for Goblin Grenade Podcast here at Max Heroes and Villains. A little more contentious, if you will, especially on the Diablo 4 side of things. But may your top deck always be mythic. I'm still going to play Season 11, but I just don't know how long.